Hey, Eric Music here. Welcome to the Subscription Box Show. And if you enjoy this podcast or it has even helped your business in any way, then I'd ask you to please consider supporting the show by visiting the subscriptionboxshow.locals.com. Any dollar amount would be a blessing to us. Thank you so much for considering. You see the recording notification there? You might have to click it. Okay, cool.
I did. That means we're live, right?
Yeah, it's recording live. So new format. Everyone's going to be seeing this. So from the pre-banter, post-banter, and the post-show.
When does it start? Right now?
Right now. We're on. You're on, yeah.
Okay. This is probably easier than post-production stuff.
Well, yeah, I don't know. Like there's just more things for him to add. So we have a YouTube channel now, a locals community. So yeah, I'm just going to bring you up to date here. So I guess our editor, Junard, still the same editor. He just has to add icons and logos and stuff. Now he'll have your name with the Battlebox logo. Hey, I got a question. Are you guys still with Carnivore Club? Are you still to do with there too? Or did
you guys... Yeah.
Okay.
So Carnivore and Battlebox are now the Battlebox group, and that was what Emerge purchased.
Okay, that's what I thought. I knew there was some news there, and I thought maybe they got acquired or, you sold or whatnot, but cool. Well, maybe let's start there. Let's, I'll quickly start with like what's new with us and what we're going to be doing here with the show. And then maybe we'll get you a quick update from you and what's happening at headquarters still in Atlanta.
Yeah, I'm still here, but right, I mean, our parent company's in Toronto now. So
yeah, that's crazy. Yeah. With the Carnivore Club side of things, right?
No. So we can get into it. We were acquired in October.
Oh, no kidding.
Yeah.
In October. Okay, well, yeah, hold on to that. So I'm just going to quickly. So, new format of the show. This will be on YouTube. This is also going to be on Locals. A lot of the post banter show stuff, if there is any, and then the Q&A. There's a specific Q&A. So I asked the Locals community, our supporters and members, to ask questions for you. So those Q&As, that Q&A will be at the end of the show. That's just going to be for the supporters. So if you want to be part of those and you want to ask questions and you want to hear the answers from our esteemed guests like John Roman here, you're going to have to head over to the subscriptionboxshow.locals.com, and there you can join as a member there and you'll see your options. So that's what's new with us, John. A bit of a new kind of a format, more engaging, I'll say, the show with many of the people that just want to have more like day-to-day touch points. So what about you? So yeah, wow, you guys got acquired in October. Let's start there.
Let's go back a second. So
sure.
How many episodes have you done now? If this is do you know the quantity?
Yeah, I don't know what number this episode will be. But as we're recording this right now, what is it? It's Friday.
Yeah.
February 11th. On Tuesday. So it's only one show a week now since post-Christmas and New Year. We are at 208. I want to say 209. 208.
Holy cow.
Yeah. So it's still going strong.
That's impressive.
Yeah.
I've never stuck with anything that long.
So, yeah.
Man. And the funny thing is we know each other for a few years now, and we've actually never met in person. We were close to meeting in person, and that whole pandemic thing started.
Yeah, what's up with that? It's
kind of know. Is that over yet?
Yeah, it should be. But yeah, tell me about that. So hopefully maybe in June, we're seeing a lot of provinces open up.
Right.
No restrictions, that kind of stuff. So I'm hoping it's the same here in my province. I'm right in the middle here in Manitoba.
Okay.
They're pretty safe, we'll say, usually. So we'll see what happens there. But yeah, I'd love to be able to get the Sub Summit. I've talked to the Sub team there to get down there in June, right? June 2nd.
Yeah, it's the beginning of June. So when I obviously we have that our office up in Toronto. So when they were going down through the lockdown again recently, did you guys go through any kind of lockdown or not?
Oh yeah. Canada's pretty, like, again, they play it really safe. I'll be honest, like my opinion on it, and my opinion only, too safe. Like it's like we only have 35 million people here spread out in one of the largest countries in the world. And I mean, you look down south, just look no further to down south where you guys are. You guys have 10 times as many people and you guys are doing fine. Like Florida, for example, I look at as a great example, right? Like there's more people in Florida than in Canada, I think. And
wow,
they're doing okay.
Yeah. And they're not following any protocols at all.
That's what I mean. Yeah. I mean, and they're living on top of each other compared to here, right? So yeah,
right.
Anyways, we're not going to get into that, but yeah, hopefully I'd love to be able to get down there just to get some sun too. Like it looks like it's all sunny here right now, but actually I should do this. I'll pan over.
Okay.
It's like minus 21 or 22 right now, and it's gonna be with the wind. It feels like minus 40. There was actually a blizzard this morning. It's calmed down a little bit, but
that it might be cold, but that is beautiful.
yeah. So all to say, I need sun. I need some vitamin D, some natural vitamin D, not just my supplements here.
Yeah. Well, hopefully you'll make it down to Disney World in June.
Yeah, it'd be nice to bring the family too. And we got 5 little kiddos now, and
they'll have a blast.
Oh, geez, would they ever? Yeah, for sure. So let's go back to you then. What's new with you? Since we last spoke? I don't know when it was the last episode recorded, but it was a while ago.
It was a while ago.
But you came back a couple times, yeah.
Yeah, we had that one thing where we were all on. I think the last time we saw each other, we're all on some kind of video conference.
Okay, so yeah, you first came in just talking about Battlebox and Carnivore Club. That was episode, say, I don't know, 40-ish, 30-ish, somewhere's in there probably. And then we had you back on for a holiday special, talking about holiday deals. And then we had the episode 100, which is actually the first video I released on the YouTube channel because it's such a cool video with you and the other 7 panelists, where we talked about international trends for 2021.
Right.
That was the last time we probably spoke.
Yeah, so. And I got called out on my I think I had a suit jacket or a blazer or something.
The suit. Ladies and gentlemen, I guess I should introduce you. Today's guest here, John the Suit Roman, all the way from Atlanta, Georgia. Thanks for coming on.
Man, so I never get to wear that stuff, and I was that same day I was accepting an award for Sub Summit when it was virtual, and I never get to wear this stuff. Like I have this whole closet full of clothes from when I had to wear a suit every day. So when I find the opportunity to do it, I do it. And man, y'all gave me a rough time on that.
Yeah. John was a bit of the whipping boy for the virtual summit suit wearing.
Jeez, you guys all tried to call me the suit. Anyway, so since we got acquired, so publicly traded company out of Toronto, Emerge Commerce. They are literally in acquisition mode to acquire these independent business units like us, and in October they acquired us. So no longer one of the owners of Battlebox and Carnivore Club. I'm an employee, which is cool and different. And so that's the big thing that happened. So it's interesting. It's the cool thing is not a lot has changed. Their model is they don't want to come in and like jump in and start
disrupt.
Yeah, like their model is getting these operators that they want to keep in place, and kind of create this ecosystem where like you're sharing best practices and we're leveraging all of our buying power to get a better rate on X. So it's pretty cool. It's probably the best scenario we could have had. We talked to, when we decided we were at the point to do this, we talked to some like private equity companies, and it was not a warm and fuzzy feeling from some of them. Like when we asked them the hard questions, because ultimately we were interviewing them too, right? We wanted to find the right place for the brand, and all the private equity companies, like there was not going to be any job security for our team. It was very like spreadsheet management, which I'm not a fan of, right? There's those intangibles that you don't see on a spreadsheet. So yeah.
Interesting. Like I'm curious to like, if you want to let's rewind a little bit here. So like for people that are listening, like, you might be like, wow, that must be nice to getting acquired. But I mean, at some point that might have not been the vision for your brand and the company, but you guys kind of just grew into this position of an advantage, I guess. Like you had a bit of a power advantage being, just what you guys were, the success you've seen, whether it was with the Netflix show, whether it was, we can talk about that. And if that's, there's just been so many good things that you guys have put together. Like, just so you guys actively were at a point where you decide to seek to be acquired. Is that kind of what I'm hearing?
Yeah, so there were three of us that had the equity in the company. And one of us was, probably ready to, I don't want to say burned out, but just ready to, put the hat up and call it a day, and probably didn't have the passion that they once had. So we were kind of at that crossroads where, two of us wanted to continue on, and one really didn't. So at that point, you have a couple options, right? It's do we try to buy each other out, and um the other option, trying to find a suitor. And the first one, just we got too big, right? I don't have that kind of money sitting around. And at that point, do you get a loan? And then there's going to be the argument on valuations, right? Like, a larger company can justify that multiplier off EBITDA, that is healthy. While it's tough for an individual or two people to justify paying a 6x EBITDA, because that means it's going to, with the business staying the same, it's going to take 6 years to get that money back. And that's not the risk there, right? Is maybe not something we wanted to bite off. So we
And John,
all
just
agree.
quickly before, I'll just pause your story there, try to see if we can get back right to where you're at here. Just for those who've never maybe heard of EBITDA, you want to just kind of like explain that just real quick?
Yeah. So basically, bottom line, your money. So it's earnings before interest. What is it? EBITDA.
Yeah,
Earnings before interest, taxes, depreciation, amortization.
it's an acronym for people. You can just Google it too. It'll
Yeah. So yeah. So it's your earnings before all those things,
yeah.
right? Interest, taxes. And it, it's basically what companies that are going to make acquisitions. That's what they're looking at, right? They're looking at the bottom line, how much a company makes, and typically, they're coming up with a multiplier off that to form the valuation.
Is there a for people that are listening? I know that a lot of my listeners are all over the place, right? Some that are just thinking of starting a subscription box, some that have started, and some that are in the thousands and they're growing.
Sure.
Is there, in your opinion, a roadmap to getting acquired? I know for us at Louis and Leia, and I'm asking this for myself, we're kind of in that, like, our goal was to build a company to get acquired at one point. So we're still, not there yet. But is there like a roadmap? I guess my first question, and then my second part of my question would be: is there like a level, not even income or subscriber base, but is there like some kind of like size that they look at before they even consider acquiring you, or does it depends completely? It could be all over the map.
I think it could be all over the map. So you look at Carnivore Club, right? So Carnivore Club um was a couple $1 million, $3 million business. We personally acquired them, right?
Mm-hmm.
We sold, before that we had two smaller brands, barbecuebox.com and spartancarton.com. One was a barbecue centric subscription box, one was a fitness and supplement subscription box. um Combined, I mean they were both low six-figure businesses,
Okay.
scratching and clawing to be six figures, and we sold both of those. So there was a buyer for that, and low six figures, and we're talking, one had 600 subscribers, 600 subs, and the other one had, maybe, I think, 350, 400, higher price point, but lower sub count. And we found a buyer for both of those. So I don't think the size matters. Now, I will tell you, the valuations probably differ the bigger you get, right? Like,
Mm.
Even us, we were this multiplier off EBITDA. But if we could have gotten to that next level, you can start getting a multiplier off top line revenue, right? Just based on who your suitor is. They have different rules, different things they're looking for. I know with the merge, they were looking for that sweet spot. They are trying to acquire companies that have an EBITDA between typically $2 and $5 million. That's what they're looking for specifically.
That
And we
company.
just happen, yeah, we just happen to fall into that. So I think I think, it's size doesn't matter when it comes to selling. Size matters when it comes to valuation, how much you're going to get. But the playbook for it, run a tight ship, right? I know it's especially like when you start a business, it's easy to say, well, I own 100% of this business, right? And daddy needs some money. And there's money in here. So like doing stuff like that and treating it like a bank account for personal use, people do that. And that's fine. If you want to treat it as just a lifestyle job, lifestyle company, lifestyle brand, that's cool, but you're not going to ever sell because no one's going to want to buy it. And I think that's the big thing. And to be honest, we were guilty of that when we first started. And we took probably more money out than we should have. And our books in turn did not look very pretty. So even, I think we probably, the outcome we came to where we decided we were going to try to find a suitor, we've had those conversations and we're probably at a similar point collectively a couple years prior, but our books were not pretty. And our books were not going to be attractive to anyone. In hindsight, if you do get to the, I'd say if you do get to decent 7-figure, 8 figures in revenue, the one hurdle we hit post letter of intent was we had to get a legitimate audit, right? This super expensive anal probe that lasted months. It's mind blowing you would pay for such pain, but we had to have one, and Emerge required that. They said, hey, you need to have an audit done on previous year's financials, and we had never done anything like that. And we thought we were running good books, and we were to a certain extent, but there were so many nuances, little things like we had never even accounted or thought of that changed stuff significantly. And if you get to that point and you want to get acquired and you're decent 7-figure, 8 figures, have an audit done prior. Because there were lots of surprises. It delayed the sales us closing 3-4 months because we had to have this audit done. And so many little things like change. So we renew on, we'll count February. So February 15th, we have our big renewal for both Battlebox and Carnivore Club.
Yep.
Now we don't ship that box, either of them, until the beginning of March. That's our model, right? Well, previously we were renewing on the 15th. We still renew on the 15th, but we were capturing February 15th renewal in the month of February. That makes sense to me. That's when the sale occurred, right? That's incorrect.
Okay.
Because you're shipping in March, you have to defer that revenue and account for it in March when the product actually ships. And we weren't doing that. So
you have to go back on you have to fix all the books on those.
Yeah. So it was crazy. Like
nightmare. Yeah.
Yeah. Cause then you're having to look at all the orders. Okay. So these orders shipped at this month, but these didn't. So you got to move. It's not like you're just taking all February revenue and dumping into March. These actually shipped in February, these one time or whatever. So, or the beginning of February, they bought, so they didn't get it in time. Yeah, little nuances like that. So I would highly advise getting ahead of the audit thing.
Yeah.
Because we were supposed to originally close in June, and we didn't close officially until October. It's a long push out.
Yeah. Especially now you got to go through the summer drought. I don't know if that's a thing with your brand or whatnot, but I mean, and then you're trying to do that in the middle of or beginning of Q4. Like it's busy time.
It's going that long. It's weird because then you're in this weird phase, right? Like
I can't imagine. Yeah.
Like you're still the owner, but you're soon not to be. And
so weird.
It just brings a whole slew of variables you had never come across or thought about. But yeah, I think I hit some of the answers to your questions there.
Yeah, for sure. Is there like a place you go to look for people that acquire companies? Is like, where do you start looking, or is it just connections or a network you've had previously?
So there's brokers, right? So, when we decided we were going down this process, I I leveraged my network at first, and I got referred to um, this guy out of Toronto, who had done a deal for this guy. They referred him and met him. His name's Tim. Had this great call. Meanwhile, our CFO is going down a more traditional route, trying to find, how do we get sold, right? And he found a traditional broker house. And there's a bunch of them in there for businesses all size. The one we ended up going with both my guy and the broker thing, and we gave an exclusion list because the big broker firm, they wanted an exclusivity. They didn't want anybody else doing this.
Okay.
But so we agreed to go with them, but then we came up with this list of 50 people that my buddy Tim was going to work. And we said, okay, as long as it's one of these 50, Tim has it. Anybody else or anything you find, these guys do it. Tim got the deal. His first call he set up ended up being, now we had other calls, but the first call he set up ended up being the Emerge deal. But back to, websiteclosers.com was who we used as the main firm. They didn't find us a deal, but they got us lots of meetings. And they're one of the leaders in the space. And it's super easy. You can go there to buy businesses. You can also go there to, fill out a form, and one of their brokers will call you and they handle the rest. Big takeaway after going through the deal is, man, I'm in the wrong industry. I need to be a broker. getting 6 to 8 points for a couple of meetings.
Yeah, do they earn their paycheck in your opinion, or is it?
I'm sure there's situations where they do, and it's a relative question, right? Do they earn their paycheck? Would the deal have happened without them? No.
Yeah.
Right.
Fair enough.
We didn't know emerge. So probably, I guess they do, but man, they earn their paycheck, but they're just highly paid. So
it's like realtors. They don't. No offense, realtors out there. I have
no offense, realtors either, but that irritates me so much. And
taking my equity for.
Yeah, and so the other thing, no offense, realtors, if you're listening, good for you. But there's two different groups of realtors, right? There's these hustlers, grinders. They're putting in the hard work. They're smart. They're intelligent. They have critical thinking. They're going to be successful, and they chose real estate. Then I'm sorry, you have this other bucket that fucking failed at everything else, and they're going to be a realtor. Sounds easy. But they want the same percentage. I don't know why I'm so irritated right now.
Did you recently have a bad experience with a realtor, John?
No, I have I haven't had some great experiences. I have some realtor friends that if they hear this, they're like, probably hate me now. But.
Yeah, I know we have a lot of realtor friends too. And I kind of, I tell them right to their face, if I sell, I'm not using you. I'm going to sell myself. It's 2022. Like, what do you?
Yes.
Yeah.
I'll
keep my own home equity. Thank you.
Right. Thank you. So I was really mad. I really thought Zillow was gonna like change the game on the realtor market.
Zillow?
No. Yeah. So in the States, Zillow decided, you can go. So on Zillow, you can go and it gives you a zestimate of what your house is worth. But Zillow, publicly traded giant company, started saying, we're going to get into real estate. We'll buy your home. So you were eliminating brokers. Wow. And they bought a lot of homes, but the zestimate always was kind of higher than appraisers and real estate people would say your house was worth.
Okay.
And I think Zillow was kind of going more off their zestimate, which was like highly inaccurate. So for 6 months, they bought thousands of homes and spent hundreds of millions of dollars. And then they just said, all right, we're not doing this anymore. Like, this isn't right. But I thought that was going to be like that game changer where it says, okay, you don't need a real estate agent anymore. Because
Yeah, I'm surprised still. Yeah, I think I don't know if it's just the boomer generation. I mean, like I know here in Canada we have something called Kijiji. I don't know if you guys have Kijiji there. It's like a buy and sell app, right? You can do your vehicles there. You can sell. I can sell. This. My calculator. I can sell anything. I can literally post anything.
Take a picture, post it.
Yeah, exactly. And then people do that for land, for properties, and their houses now. So I'm like, people always post there first, Facebook Market, and then I think between Facebook and Kijiji here, anyways, it sells. Like people see it. So I don't know how.
I don't understand how they've continued to be this space. To your point, it's 2022. I'm going to sell my own house.
Yeah.
and so thinking now it's the house we live in, we bought in 2015. So it's been a minute, but the internet was still the internet back then.
Yeah.
And like we did the majority of like the research. We knew this and we knew that. And you can go to the sites that have the listings anyway. Like,
I know. It's strange.
What exactly do you do for your percentage?
Not to mention, no one knows your house as much as you do. So I mean, I know my house more than my buddy Brett, or realtor or whatever, right? Like, anyways, let's take I'm just gonna take this. We're going off off rail here, but I'm just gonna take this second to thank our sponsors. This is a new thing too, John. We're thanking our sponsors in show here. So
cool.
I know this one here is close to your heart because I think you've been on stage either virtually or with your suit in person multiple times as a multiple winner. So Sub Summit 2022 is sponsoring this episode. The great team at SEPTA, Chris, Paul, and John, Chris, Paul, and John. Sorry, John, the Hodgefather. Yes. So yeah, this episode is sponsored by Sub Summit. So we kind of like teed it up a little bit, nonchalantly in the beginning, but Sub Summit 2022 is in June 2nd to 4th. I want to say it's just go to subsummit.com. Junard's gonna be posting the link on the screen here, or you can also go to subta.com, SUBTA, and you will find a link to Sub Summit. But Sub Summit has amazing speakers and people like John that heads out there. I was gonna say former CMO. Are you still CMO at Battlebox?
No, so I am CEO now. So part of the switch, with the new ownership, I stepped into the CEO role.
Excuse me. Oh, well, look at that.
Even June 1st to the 3rd.
June 1st to the 3rd?
Yeah.
Okay. So apologies to Sub Summit, but yeah, June 1st to 3rd in sunny Orlando, Florida. And I think there's even like a hotel block you can rent there and stuff. I think it's at the same place we went to Podfest. I want to say I went to Podfest in 2020. And I think it's at the same kind of like a resort hotel. It was beautiful there. I think it is. Does it say?
I guess I'm gonna start talking about the sponsor too. Yeah, so it's in Disney World.
Okay.
At Swan and Dolphin, which are in Disney near Epcot theme park. You can literally take a little tram or walk to or take a boat ride to Epcot.
Ooh.
You can take a little boat to Disney Studios. It's right there in the action. It's gonna be fun.
Yeah, and there's always a massive lineup of speakers there. I mean, go check it out, subsummit.com. You'll see all the speakers that are supposed to be there. So yeah, check it out. I'm definitely going to be there if I can. I mean, it's just kind of depends.
You've got to make it.
I know. I might have to skidoo across the border and then fly from Grand Forks, North Dakota or something. We'll see. But yeah, I'll have to find a way to get there. If not, obviously, I'm kind of done with such virtual things, but worst case scenario, I would be going virtually anyways. But yeah, my plan is to definitely be there. And I think if I can be there, we've got some cool plans for even the subscription box show supporters to kind of have meet and greets with some of my past favorite guests. Maybe like John, maybe John would come in and partake with that.
I'm going to be there. I'd love if you're there, I'm 100% in.
Yeah. We'll have some drinks and, bring some Canadian pints, maybe. I don't know, something cool. We'll figure something out, some good coffee, some good beer. Are you a beer drinker, Sean?
I'm not. So we've talked about this before. I'm not a beer drinker, which is disappointing.
Well, that is very disappointing. You look like you should be somewhere in a pub having a pint. It's Friday. So,
yeah.
Okay, so let's continue. So since the acquisition, what's the new role for you look like? You went from CMO to CEO. So we kind of went through like the process of getting acquired, and we can keep kind of going down this rabbit hole here. So you guys get acquired in October. what does that look like as soon as like, day one in the new position here?
Yeah. So as far as day to day goes, there hasn't been a lot of changes. For what my day to day looks like, I've leaned heavily a little bit more than usual on gentleman named Walter. He's our director of marketing.
Okay.
And he learned, and really smart kid, and he's learned a lot of the stuff that I was doing on the day to day. But he was learning that prior to the acquisition. Um, as it's always been the plan that he's going to continue to take all things sales and marketing. And then I have some involvement now in the procurement process, which I didn't have before. But that's in general, all of us in leadership are involved in the procurement process now. Just to ensure, it was the one piece. My business partner who decided to retire, Daniel, that was the one thing he did for the company, was procurement.
Okay.
So we said, okay, well, if we're losing him, we're going to need to overcompensate, just to be safe and make sure we don't miss the mark. So we made a full-time hire to lead procurement, and we have kind of this board of procurement to ensure everything is a better experience even before. So the day to day hasn't changed. The way the business operates hasn't changed much. If I'm thinking of what's different, um, they're publicly traded. So there's one, I didn't have to send reports and updates on numbers ever before, because when I send them to myself, I'd look at them and see where we're at, and that would be it. Now we're having to put together a decent amount of like reporting and forecasting, and
The shareholders.
yeah, so we're setting that up to parent company. So that's new, and then this whole publicly traded piece is new, because it's um we're having to get financials by a certain date, up to corporate, so they can put them in this combined thing. Literally this week, um I believe maybe Wednesday, they, Emerge announced that their preliminary Q4 results. In order to do that, we had to get our numbers
Yeah.
to that. So that whole nuance is new. Luckily, I knock on wood, our CFO Richard and his team, um, they take 99% of the lift from that. So I'm not having to deal with it too much on the financial side. The reporting side, I have some stuff I have to do. But that, and then there's always going to be an audit, which is not fun. So poor Patrick, who third partner, the other partner that also stayed on, he runs our warehouse, leads operations, logistics, shipping, fulfillment, inventory management. All of that is his domain. Well, they had to do, at the end of the year, they had to do a fun inventory audit, which these things are not fun. So like,
Because you guys still do everything in house, John?
We do.
Yeah.
I think that was one of the probably one of the list of attractive things that we had going for us, was that we had our own fulfillment. So
Why
as
is that?
Emerge,
Why is that attractive to them?
so Emerge has we were their second acquisition. Their first acquisition, True Local, which I don't know if you're familiar with.
That sounds familiar. Yeah, I'm trying to think.
Yeah, so it's like a butcher box. It's these high quality organic cuts of meat, and they're 99% of the business, maybe 97%, 95%. The business is in Canada.
Okay.
And they don't have too much of a US presence. And some of the other brands they have, just golf stuff, Wag Jag, is all Canada based, but they have some fulfillment in Canada, but they really don't have US fulfillment at all. So it allows, as there's expansion, these Canadian companies, and just golf stuff, for example, we're talking with them, sister company now, and it probably makes sense we can do a deal where we do some fulfillment for them. Instead of them having to ship to a 3PL in the States, they can ship to us. We're keeping it in the family.
Okay.
So that's cool. The synergies and whatnot. But yeah.
So yeah, man.
Nothing's changed yet.
Yeah. Yeah, it's incredible. What a journey. I mean, like, I think, do most people stick around after they get acquired, or do a lot of people just kind of, like you said, I think it was Daniel, like they just kind of retire? Because often I think you know, right off in the sunset, but you want to keep, you want to stay, in the game, I guess.
Yeah. So I wasn't, a couple reasons. One, personally, I wasn't done with the Battlebox journey.
Okay.
I want to see a little, how far can we take this? What else can we do? We had some initiatives and plans and things we wanted to launch that we haven't gotten to yet. I think the potential's there to keep going with it. Now, a merge wouldn't have bought us if we weren't sticking around. So we were very, very forthcoming when we started the convo with the merge, and we said, hey, Patrick, John, Richard, our CFO, who wasn't a partner, but he basically might as well be. The three of us are staying. Daniel was not. So there was some major due diligence by them, because their model is they want independent business units that are self-sustaining, that can run themselves. They don't want to have to like stick some leadership in there.
Yeah.
So there was major due diligence to make sure that they felt comfortable. We were confident and comfortable that we were fine with Daniel not staying on, but they obviously needed to make sure as well. Because their whole motto is staying on. Now, yes, we weren't ready to leave and hang up the hat, but there's major financial goals and payouts if we can hit these goals over the next few years. So it's advantageous for us to stay too. They've definitely aligned, made sure we were aligned with them in staying on.
Yeah.
So as long as we hit our goals, it's very advantageous to stay on.
Yeah, right on. Sounds exciting. So let's just move into the day-to-day stuff. I mean, what are you guys seeing for 2022 here? We're still fairly early, February 11th, like I said, as we're recording this. Are you guys, what's the plan for growth? Are you guys at a spot where you're saturated? You kind of like just kind of maintaining? Are you still looking to keep, growing acquisitions? What does that look like?
So we have to grow.
Let's show it.
The powers that be say we have to, and in reality, we're still growing. We're still looking to grow. I think for us, it's a combination of the continued acquisition on digital advertising that we've done. It's launching new products, and new offerings, and then we're continuing. The very cool thing that we were upfront with Emerge, and they like it, is we're going to continue our tuck-in model of trying to find like additional carnivore clubs, these other subscription businesses that are smaller than us, that we can tuck in, where our existing team can replicate and do 85-90% of the job of that other company. So it's all of them. We're still having the love hate kind of like relationship with Facebook. I mean, I think we're all in the same boat of WTF after this iOS thing, right? Yeah. Trying to find what works and what doesn't work. And it's interesting. Right now, Facebook and Instagram are actually going really well for us. And everybody I've spoken to where it's going well, we all are doing the exact same thing on there, which is a very aggressive offer. For us, it's right now on all of our Battlebox ads, we're giving away a free single man tent.
So it's a gift. I was going to ask you about your offer. I'm glad you went there, because I was just going to ask you, like, so what kind of offer, like this free box kind of passe. Now it's like you have to have this killer kick-ass gift, I think, that people really want, and they almost sign up just to get that gift. Is that kind of what you're getting at?
Yeah, it's for 5, 6, 7 years, we didn't like these huge offers in top of funnel. We just didn't want to do that. Right now, we might give you middle of funnel, give you 10% off your first box, maybe something even more aggressive at end of funnel just to close you. And then what we used to do is, for the last 3 years, a couple times a year, typically 3 to 4 times, we'd have a very aggressive offer, typically Black Friday, Cyber Monday.
Yeah.
And then we'd find 2 times strategically later or earlier in the year to do that's a very similar thing. And those were needle movers. That was okay. Let's turn it up. Let's add some major exponential growth to our subscriber base. Let's do this. And they were planned. And now the unfortunate reality is that's just going to be the norm now. It's an evergreen, aggressive offer. Now the good news is we did major testing as through the years as we've done this, and looking at those cohorts, they perform not identical to the normal regular Battlebox subscribers,
okay,
but close enough where we can do modeling and understand what the LTV is and understand what the behavior is, and it makes it where it makes sense. It's profitable. It's but it's just it's a new world where we're having to lead with this offer, and it's working. It's working right now, and I've probably in the last month talked to maybe 10, 12 businesses in our space that are our size or bigger, and that's what's working for them. Facebook, Instagram is working right now for them, and they all are doing the exact same thing, which is interesting. TikTok is for us has been the savior. It started off organically, and we were getting customers organically, and it was our focus. We doubled down on content, and we really made it very, very important.
So before ads, you guys were just strictly going just a lot of content, posting a ton. Like, are you talking like 4 times a day kind of a thing?
No, I'm talking like four times a week.
Oh, that's good.
And then and it was a slow ramp, right? And now like we're pushing for daily posts, and once we can consistently hit that, we'll probably move to twice a day. But it's a slow build. It's tough to get that much content and then still do your other job requirements.
You guys have like short posts on there?
Yeah, so we go anything from short and funny to a minute to I think this week's best performer is actually a 3-minute video.
Oh wow.
So we test it all. But literally in the last 30 days, we've actually seen success with TikTok advertising. Okay. Which is pretty exciting, because all of last year we couldn't get anything to work on there. The only thing we saw work, and the only thing we heard about working, was taking influencers and having them kind of whitelist and running the ads on their channels. That was the only thing that worked on TikTok. And now actual traditional advertising is working on there. And it's exciting, because it's if they can keep it working like it needs to, they're just going to continue to dominate. Like right now, TikTok is dominating the social space. And if they can figure out advertising, and knock on wood, it looks like in 2022 they might have. If they can continue this, it's a game changer. Yeah. Like it really, really is.
It'll be a game changer. It'll be good for everyone, because it'll have that competition, much needed competition from Facebook, right? Like I think we're all kind of
it'll be good for everybody except for Facebook or Meta, whatever you want to call that.
Yeah, what is that? I go on my WhatsApp and it's just like powered by Meta. It used to be Facebook, now it's Meta. What is that?
Powered by the metaverse.
Is that what that is? What is that?
Yeah. So it won't be good for them, but shame on them. Other stuff we tested towards the end of last year. We haven't figured it out yet. Connected TV. So think Hulu, Sling, all of those over the top streaming services. We've tested advertising with them, and we haven't found anything super scalable yet. And I don't know if we will, but we saw an uptick, and it might just be, part of that omni-channel approach of another touch point. What I do like about it is the tracking on it has really stepped up the game in the last little bit of time. So, you're watching it on this commercial for Battlebox on your TV, but it's not like an ad you see on your phone or a computer where like you click it, like
Yeah.
you can't click it, right?
Yeah.
So you then go to it on your phone or Google it on your phone and go to it. So they know that they delivered that commercial to that IP address, and then they track
Okay.
another device shows up
Got it.
on the network with that
Yeah.
IP address. Boom, same user.
So they can track it. Yeah.
Yeah. So the tracking's definitely stepped up, but it's still tough for us to really know if we're gonna find if it's a prospecting play, or if it's just a very very expensive reprospecting play. I hope it's the
Yeah.
first one, right? I want
Branding.
top of funnel. I don't want middle of funnel.
Yeah.
And then the last piece is podcasts. So um we're doubling down on TikTok and YouTube content, and content, double downing on it. But podcasts, we're about to like quadruple down on it. And
That's interesting for you guys, right? Because for you guys, it's a cool niche. Like I'll just think of Battlebox. Like, you probably have some really cool podcasts on that kind of like niche that you can really kind of target. And I think it's just a matter of finding the right ones. Like, or do you kind of right? There's only like a handful that makes sense.
so there's only a handful of ones that are in our space, and we've already talked to them and advertised with them. So this is trying to find the larger, the I'd say the Joe Rogans of the world, but Joe Rogan's too expensive. Super pricey, but like literally
You don't got 100 million to spare.
gosh. So finding, we maybe it's outdoor enthusiasts, um, just trying to find even breaking down the demographics of our customers, and then finding, okay, there's these 5 buckets. What do this demographic listen to?
Yeah.
And then finding stuff um that might be political. It might be political on either side.
Yeah.
Just trying to find
That's
what are our customers listening to podcasts. We went through some exercises where in our members only, our community Facebook group, I think we have, I don't know, 6 or 7,000 people in there. It's like, hey, what podcast are you listening
yeah,
to
exactly.
right now?
Yeah, it's perfect.
Okay, this is our list.
Yeah, this is what they listen to. Yeah, now you know.
Yeah, let's try to find some commonalities, and let's see if it works. So we're leaning in super hard on podcasts. We have a plan that if we can continue to scale and see the CPAs that make sense, and everything goes right, which probably won't, but if it does, it's possible. We have a plan where we're ramped up, and we're going to be spending $700K a month by the end of the year on podcasts. Now we're starting way below that. But we literally have an agreement in place that if we can hit these metrics in Q1, we move up to this bucket. If we can hit these metrics in Q2, we're going to move up to this bucket.
Cool.
And it's a true plan to scale and make podcasts be one of our major sources.
Nah, is it just as simple as setting up to track it like an affiliate? You an affiliate with the podcaster, or do you have like a special link? What are you guys doing there?
So we went with so we partnered with an agency for this. And we're basically creating specific URLs for each of the podcasts, with a specific offer, also a specific coupon code, UTM parameters put throughout the entire thing, obviously.
Mhm.
But then taking it a step further, and we hadn't gone heavy on podcasts in a couple years. Podcast game changed too. Just like connected TV, you have the OIP address thing now. So we're placing this pixel, so we know what IP address to listen to the podcast. So if they don't go to the landing page, if they don't use the coupon code, we still know it's that same user. So surely with the IP address, the landing page, the UTM parameters, the coupon code, post-purchase survey. Surely with those five things, we'll be able to get a good measure on if it's working, right? Because that was always the complaint about podcasts, is like tracking. But I think we have a plan with those five pieces where we're gonna know with certainty.
Yeah, and you could kind of use some sort of blended CPA too, right? Like, when we're putting this amount of money in podcasts, outside of everything else, we're still gaining X amount of subscribers or whatever. I mean, I think
Correct.
you can just kind of like,
and you have to look at it that way, right? It's just like any other this whole blended viewpoint. We're at a point where that's just how you have to view this stuff.
I think the podcast is interesting. I think it's tough though. You got to find the right one. You got to test, I guess. Like, this only thing, they can be very expensive to advertise on, right? Like,
some of them are so pricey.
They're extremely pricey, or they can be. So I think it's important to find the right one and not be afraid to test, but you also have to have make sure you're not going to just burn it all on podcast first. Like, I think it's kind of another tool in the toolkit. So I think they can work, but they have to be a right fit, and you have to make sure like you're kind of zoned in and dialed in on who is your listener or your subscriber and what are they listening to. Like you said, you put them in buckets and you try these buckets and it might stick, right, if it's the right fit. Because I think podcasting is a unique thing. When you have a host, that host is always in your ear, so they become, there's a trust thing there. Like, you start to like the podcast I listen to, I really enjoy the host, obviously, right? Or else I wouldn't choose to listen to them. So there's a certain trust there. If they're marketing something, it's because I know, first of all, they believe in it, because it wouldn't be on their show. And I think as a podcaster myself, I wouldn't promote something I don't believe in. So I think there's a certain trust factor there that's beyond just seeing a Facebook ad pop up. So if you can get it right, is what I'm trying to get to, is that there is a percentage of the audience that will purchase, no question, if it's just got to be the right one.
Yeah, and so saying what you said, and I can appreciate that so much, that we went out with this plan. These are the 12 podcasts we want to start on, and the vast majority of them came back and said, cool, but like, we want to set up a call and talk to the guys at Battlebox. We want to better understand what they stand for, what their focus is, what they're doing outside of it. How are they giving back? And hearing those questions is, like, to me, very cool, because it means that they care. To your point, they're not going to put their name on and advertise something they don't believe in.
No, big time.
And I think the listeners appreciate that even greater, right?
Yeah.
That's why you and I listen to the podcast we listen to, because you like that person, you trust that person.
Yeah.
And it's cool to see the back end of it, like them validifying that you should trust them, because they are doing the due diligence. They do have your best interests at heart. It's just kind of cool.
Well, we're a brand. We're protecting our own brand, right? Like that, we have to. Like, otherwise, you're just going to destroy your own brand. Like any brand wouldn't want to seem untrustworthy in any sense, right? Like, think of your own subscription box. I mean, it's the same thing as a podcaster. So, all right, I can't believe the amount you guys are going to be. Hopefully, I know you're not there yet, but that's crazy. 700K down the road. That's a big.
So we started with the test. It's a 100K test. So we've already paid for that. It starts on Monday.
Ooh.
It's a 5-week test, 12 different podcasts. $100,000. That's so much money.
And is that how many?
That's more than we paid for podcasts in our first 7 years in business.
Jump right at it with that. You know what? That's cool. Are you allowed to say which shows you're going to be on? If not, that's fine. It's just because it'd be cool to kind of listen to the.
Yeah. So here is So we're the part of the initial jump, Drinking Bros podcast, the Adam Carolla show, Commentary Magazine podcast, 3 Martini Lunch, Tim Pool Daily Show, Behind the Baller podcast with Ben Baller. Surprises me that we're testing this one, but Conservative Review with Daniel Horowitz, Steve Deese Show, and The News and Why It Matters. Oh, wait, we're still going. Team Never Quit. Wealth, Power, Influence with Jason Stapleton. Unashamed with Phil and Jace Robertson. The Rubin Report. The Eric Metaxas Show. The Charlie Kirk Show. America First with Sebastian Gorka. CBS's 60 Minutes World News Roundup, Face the Nation. And John Solomon. So quite a lot. Actually.
That's cool. So how many? That's so cool. I love that. So how many like spots do you get for that? And like, is it like you get a mid roll? You just get an intro? Like, how many weeks or how many shows?
So we're going. So we did have some learnings from previous, and this agency has some learnings too. So we're only going two for each. And that seems to be the current, at least for us on the direct to consumer side. That's the sweet spot. You start seeing diminishing returns typically on the third. So really? The best bang for your buck is 2.
Okay. I'm just doing some quick math here. So that's 24 spots if it's 2 each for 12 shows, right?
Yeah.
So on average, oops. Oh, why can't I calculate this one second? So am I reading this right? It's going to be around $4,000 an episode?
Yeah, so not all all of these podcasts have different viewership, right? So some have massive. Sure. I mean, Adam Carolla's I mean, that's a big name comedian, at least to me. Yeah. So I'm sure he has
it'll be higher for him. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
It'll range. It'll range on the I'm just saying, like on average, that's around like $4,000 an episode. So 8,000 per show. Let's just say on average. Like that's people are looking at podcasts, and I've looked into it for our niche, like for our big mom influencers.
Right.
And I don't know why I did air quotations. They are legit mom influencers, and they're the other, mom influencer. Yeah. No, it's expensive. Like, you're looking at a lot of money when it comes to podcast listenership. If they have a lot, and it goes by
views, right?
Yeah, it goes by views. Now views or listens, downloads. People go by downloads a lot. Downloads is funny because people go by downloads, but a lot of people are going by listens now too, because if you're just subscribed to a show that you never listen to anymore, it still keeps downloading. But how many people are actually listening to the show? You can track that on certain platforms too, which is cool.
But the pricing seems to be pretty, for the most part. You're looking at between 25 and 35, or maybe between 30 and 35 CPM for a podcast. That seems to be like all of these were in that range.
That's still the growing rate. Yeah, I'd say so. As low as 15, as high as 35. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
Exactly. These were all in the high 20s, low 30s. But obviously, some of them have way more followers than others.
Exactly. And that's why it goes. So for those who are wondering, I believe that metric CPM is like for every, let's say we use $25 per 1,000 downloads or whatever. I think that's kind of like what it's always been. So that's what you're looking at for a price. So if you're looking at, if you're reaching out to someone in your niche, if you're listening to the show, like, hey, you know what, I'd love to be on a podcast. What does that look like? You can go and look at, like, okay, they're going to tell you their numbers. Okay. Your podcast X is getting, 5,000 downloads. Well, you can take your 25 and times that by 5.
Yep.
And that's kind of what you're looking at. So
that's going to be around what the pricing should be.
Roughly what it should be. And that can vary. Some depending on like if they have like a very engaged audience, they can gauge certain metrics outside of that too. That's a very broad thing. You just be careful with that, right? Because there's more to it sometimes that means but just a general idea of what you're looking at for when you're advertising on a show. Cool, man. So anything else you guys are doing when it comes to like advertising and just like when acquiring? I know, like, just actually a question back on the offer, because you mentioned the tent. Is there something where it's like, okay, we're going to be eating a lot of money on this tent. It's going to cost us way more than we thought, but it's going to just, in the end, it's still going to fix the CAC, right? So let's say your CAC on Facebook was whatever, $50. this unit here is going to cost us, $15 or $30 or whatever it is, $20. So now but it's going to lower the CAC to, 20. So it's actually lower than that 50 without it. Does that make sense?
And that's what we're seeing.
Okay.
So we're seeing, yes, the tent costs us $25 to manufacture, but the CAC is $25 less than acceptable of scaling. So it ends up being net. It's the same thing. It's which is interesting.
Yeah.
And it when we saw that data, we're like, okay, well then why would we not do it, right? It's not like the CAC is the same rate and this is that much more and there's that much more risk. No, we see it lowering the CAC.
Yeah.
So it actually makes sense. It's just for whatever reason we had stuck in our head for the last 6 years, like, don't get that aggressive in your initial offer. Now there is some risk, right? You have the people that, for the tent, for example, you can buy the basic box as $30 a month or the Pro Plus 160, and you're getting the tent regardless. Anybody can get the tent. So you're gonna have the people those bad actors that are buying the basic, canceling immediately, they're just doing it to do it, right?
Mm-hmm.
You do have those, but the vast majority of these buyers are just like normal customers, and they're staying around for just as long, if not longer. They're behaving in the same way. So there's not as much risk, and the only reason we know this is because we thought we thought everybody was going to be bad and do the basic, cancel, be gone. But as we used to run this 3 times a year, we'd watch that cohort, and it would behave the same way, with a small little difference in the beginning, but very, very small, of those bad actors. But then everybody else was normal. So our LTV and our normal metrics are the same. So it's just a different way to do it. And it seems to be the only thing that works for us on Facebook and Instagram.
2 questions. One, do you guys use like a tool when it comes to measuring metrics? Like you can get into that if you want. And so that's my first question. My second question would be did you guys test the tent stuff? And furthermore, to testing the tent before, buying a ton of them. I guess, like, is there something where it needs to be a really solid tent? Not only like people recognize the tent. Does it have to be a brand name, do you think? Or does it just have to be like, it has to look like it's a quality tent? And the reason I'm asking is because we're about to test cameras. So like baby cameras for our stuff. And I can get them overseas for, less than I can get them from a reputable company here in Canada that sources them. And it's going to be actually about $25. They retail, and it's not even like 50%. It's like, it's a crazy amount. Like they retail for say 50 or 40, I think $39.99.
Okay.
And they want to sell them to me for 25. And I'm like, well, I can get this camera in China. But I talked to other guys, and they're like, well, there's a difference. Like we've tested the China cameras, and they were, we're just getting a lot of returns that weren't working. So we actually opted to go for a better camera, and pay a little bit more, but knowing that there's sort of backed up better. Does that make sense? Is there something where that you think it's important to make sure it's quality so they don't get this junky tent?
Yeah, so it does need to be quality. It does, for the most part. I know with us, with our model, it has to be something we manufacture, right? Because we need those that net difference of what our cost is to what retail or MSRP or even perceived value is.
Sure.
It needs to be exponentially more. The tent costs us 25 to make, but it's because we're making 10,000 of them. And the perceived value is on the low end, 80, 90, $100. We have them for sale on our site for 140, and we sell them pretty regularly.
Mm-hmm.
It has great sales velocity. So I think that matters, right?
Yeah.
I think you don't have to be manufacturing something or getting it from overseas, but it's having that, you really do want that big difference from what you pay to what anybody else would pay for it.
Yeah, I think it's just initially, and we're trying to think of like to test it, I guess. Like, would you
test
it first?
I apologize. That was your first question I didn't answer. Was 100%. So before we pulled the trigger on the tent piece, We did testing with it. We did other items too that failed miserably.
Yeah. And that's why it's important to test. I know it happens to us too. Like it happens all the time. You think you're gonna hit a home run and it's just like a complete flop, right?
Right. So what we've also done is, we're trying to, even with the tents per se. Okay, so we're going through the amount we bought, and we have a decision to make. Like we need more, right? But there's also a chance that this stops working, right?
Yeah.
Facebook and Instagram, through the years, many times I've been having this exact same scenario, saying we figured it out, it's working, and then they just cold cock me, and start kicking me when I'm passed out.
Yeah.
So we had this decision: we need more tents, but there's also the risk of that, right? Like we're going to be putting a big order that's a big outlay of cash, and what if we're wrong? Like, so what we've done is we're making those decisions where we're buying this and it's going to be actually in the subscription box. So we're getting that quantity to be in the subscription box far down the road, but the goal is that it doesn't go in the subscription box because we need that quantity.
Yeah.
So we kind of have a backup plan.
Yeah.
And then we'll have an alternate product ready to replace it in the subscription box. That way we can get the big quantity. And if hopefully this continues with Facebook and Instagram and we need it and we can use it.
Yeah, exactly.
And pull that inventory. But if not, we're okay too. We'll use it for the box.
Yeah. Should the gift fit in your first box, in your opinion? Did you guys send it with the first box or is it separate? It's too big.
It's too big. Hey, I feel like a 12-year-old child. Can I run to the restroom really quickly?
Yeah, cool. I'm gonna entertain them. Yeah, this is like, go for it. Yeah, right, give her. I'm gonna see if I can share my screen and we're gonna try to look for your tent while you're doing that. Let me know if you guys see this here. Let's go to battlebox.com. So as you can see, they've got a pretty polished site there. So apologies if you're just listening to this. I'm just on the Battlebox site. You guys can go check it out on locals or on YouTube here. If you're watching that way, let's see if the offer comes up here. Basic, Advanced, Pro. Does it looking to send a kick-ass gift? Okay, let's see. Pick your box. Let's just go through it here. See if we can see the tent. I'm gonna go. Let's go with. I should have asked him if it comes with the tent. Let's go Pro. You're back. Can you see my screen there, John?
Yeah.
I'm going to backtrack. Where can we see your tent here? Is it part of the offer right now?
So it's only part of the offer when you're seeing the ad. So if you hit the ad, it tells you the coupon code. If you click the ad, we have UTM parameters, a little code where it's going to then give you a pop-up, not a pop-up, but a top bar that keeps reminding you of it. You can find it though. If you just go to search, in the top right.
Yep.
And
let's search it here.
Yeah, just type in tent. And it's the second one, the free shipping, down all the way. Sorry, second product right there.
Oh, yeah. This one here.
Yep. So unfortunately, in a perfect world, and we've done items that could fit in the box.
Oh, cool.
But the reality is this can't. So we have to ship it separately. It's also very expensive to ship because it's so big. So we have to take that into the equation too, and we're trying to figure out what the acceptable CAC is. Because there's the cost of this, but the cost of shipping is up there too. I think on average it's costing us $12 or $11 to ship, maybe.
Wow. Which is peanuts compared to here. So did you send it right away, or did you send it together in a bigger box, or just kind of like wrap it together or whatever? But you send it with the first order?
So we don't send them with the first order because their first order goes out fairly quickly. So what we're doing is we're putting in batches of this free order. So the customer gets it. It's the Battlebox free tent, and then we have in parentheses in the product name, ships February 10th, which was our first batch of shipping.
Yep.
That way it's not like onesie twosie, like we can knock it out and be efficient. So they receive that order confirmation, $0 order showing the tent Obviously, tracking will attach to that when we send, but it also sets the expectations of when it's shipping.
Yeah.
So that, yesterday, Patrick's team was able to go in and put together 1,000 tents in these boxes and ship them instead of having to. Otherwise, it becomes a little inefficient to have to do them every day.
Yeah. Cool. Interesting. Yeah. I think I think the offer is good, and I think your offer has to be good. Like if you think about, trying to acquire a customer, is there acquisition cost? I mean, this is maybe unfair to ask, like what you guys are seeing like traditionally, and now you're back to kind of like, even if you want to just use generalities, like it's back to what it was when it comes to your paid ads with this offer, or is it better?
It's so the journey of our acquisition costs since 2015, it's just been a constant like this. We started in 2015.
Yeah, if you're listening, that was a straight up hand going straight up. Yeah.
Direction. It's just been a constant. As time goes, it becomes higher and higher. When we started in 2015, we were acquiring customers for $5.
That's insane.
What's insane is just our naivety and ignorance at the time. If we knew what we knew now, I would have taken every credit card, anything I could have.
Yeah.
And just gone all. I would have went all in. I would have taken out a personal loan, because it was $5 acquisition, and then through the years it became 20, and then 40 was acceptable, and then really for the past 2 years we've been operating on a mid 60s being acceptable, and then that works for us. Our average order values over $100.
LTV.
Average, LTV is in the 500s. So I mean, it makes sense. It's just not as easy as it once was.
What do you think? I'm flabbergasted when I hear either in Facebook groups or in whatever masterminds, and you hear people say like, "Oh yeah, my acquisition costs are." I can't, and I never call them out on it because it could be very, very much like they might be crushing it that way, but they'll say like, "Oh, I got a $12 acquisition cost right now. I'm seeing $12." I'm like, what the hell are you doing that I'm not? Like, I don't know, like, or $16 or $18. It's like, oh, like that's insane. Like, so I don't know if it's just like they're dialed in on or they're maybe not just taking in consideration the total cost of actually acquiring the customer. I'm not sure what they're.
I think it's I don't think it's that they're dialed in. I'm not to hate, but there's only so much, especially on Facebook and Instagram. We're at a point of platform maturity where there's not like some latest hack of 2022 that's going to get you some that doesn't exist anymore, right? It existed in 2015, right? There were stuff you could do. Yeah. It exists in TikTok today. I'd say the skill set and hackability and ability to pull off cool shit on TikTok and the advertising, the skill set of the TikTok advertisers is very big right now, right? You have people that have no idea to people that are leading the charge and crushing it. But Facebook and Instagram, the platform's so mature, and even with the changes they make, like the skill set of someone who sucks or isn't very good to decent, all the way up to like the most advanced Facebook advertisers, that skill set isn't like exponential like it used to be.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't think someone's just dialed in. Sure, they might be dialed in, but dialed in isn't like they couldn't get us or you this $8 acquisition cost, right? I think a lot of it's just simply product, right? An audience, and then there's a chance that they're not taking other things into consideration. There's the chance they're taking Facebook's platform at face value on what they're acquiring customers for, right? The platforms haven't been right in years. And what's crazy is that we came full circle. When we first started, we had it was a pre-purchase survey. How'd you hear about us, right? And now we're 7 years later, and 4 months ago, we implemented a post-purchase survey again because we need some truth. And we're not taking any of the platforms for face value on what they're doing. We're taking Google Analytics and the post-purchase survey. We're taking those two data points and looking at them together and making decisions with them about the platforms. The platforms on right TikTok, for example, as we're scaling and we're doing really well on it the last few weeks. But their platform itself on the analytics and reporting is literally it's a dumpster fire. It is. Yeah. It is absolute crap. But Google Analytics is telling us that it's crushing it, and our post-purchase survey is telling us that it's crushing it. So it's crushing it because those are more of the truth than the platform itself.
Yeah, and you're right, because maybe they saw it on TikTok or YouTube, and then they went on. Finally, maybe the Facebook ad was the one that turned it, or vice versa. So there's a lot of touch points there potentially as well. What tools are you using to track that? I was talking with a mutual friend of ours. We recorded earlier this week, so his episode will be just a little bit before yours. But Mr. Josh Band from Play Crate.
I love Josh.
Yeah, we had he's awesome, man. Like, we had a wicked conversation too. So I think he mentioned a tool maybe you guys were sharing. What was that tool again for the post-purchase?
So I believe Inquire.
Yeah, that's right. It was. That's right. Inquire. Yeah.
So Inquire, it's super.
Plugs in with Recharge?
What's that?
It plugs in with the Recharge?
Yeah, it does both Recharge, Shopify, checkout. So it's great. And it's not priced astronomical. Like, we have large volume, and I think it might be 50 a month.
Yeah.
But like the data insights it's giving us is just
insane.
Yeah. Right? Here, I'll if you don't mind, I'll share my
share my screen? Yeah, let me just fix this here 1 second here. All right, go for it.
So let's see. So many apps. So our question is, how did you first, all caps, hear about us? This was a learning we took because we really wanted to focus on what's driving top of funnel. And you simply just go to analytics, last 7 days. This is what's crazy. So it's a post-purchase survey. Look at that response rate. 2 out of 3 people are actually playing the game and telling us.
Wow, that's awesome.
So you can see where all the usual suspects, but then you see TikTok
crushing it.
Hear about us. And Facebook and Instagram are right behind it. YouTube has always been up there. We are a little blessed that we have the Netflix TV show.
Yeah.
That continues to pull stuff. But to be able to just jump in this, I look at this every day. Every morning I jump in and I'm trying to see, what's working, what's not working. I'm breaking it down by, maybe we're just looking at, let's look at today. So 70%. And again, today, TikTok.
TikTok's always in first place here. If you're, we're looking on the screen for the audio listeners there.
So it's, what's interesting is the I call it the talkening, which is it's the flippening of TikTok becoming our primary. It's in the last 3 weeks, 4 weeks.
Insane.
So you
guys use an agency for TikTok?
For advertising, yes. For organic, no. So we started literally a year ago, created this TikTok account, organic. Got up to, I think right now we're up to 377,000 followers. So it's become our largest channel. It was a struggle. It was a struggle figuring out what worked, what didn't. And what we would see is we'd go through these like swings where we do a cool video with a cool product, and TikTok would come to the first, second place of like, how'd you hear about us? But then would fall back down to 5 or 6 and would stay there. And then we eventually got to the point, and our growth and follower count was very like, good video, boom, up a little bit, stagnant, good video, pop again. And we finally, a year in, it's just consistently growing because we have enough content. And we're consistently posting too. But at the same time, that's working, and then advertising is working. But without the advertising, it's still up there too. Like it's just we're finally seeing the fruits of a year of pounding our head against the wall trying to figure it out.
And you didn't have to spend a ton of money. It was just content, right? It was just content creation.
Correct.
So what's working? Is it it's 2022 here. Is it funny stuff that's working the best? Is it informational?
Say that again.
Like just what kind of content you're posting when never mind the advertising. Like, is it funny stuff you guys are posting all the time that's working really well? You're seeing spikes. Is it informational? Is it a blend?
It's a blend, right? And it's also a blend of time of day, and it's a blend of length. So like, right now, yesterday's post where we're literally, it's educational. We're showing how to tie a certain type of knot. And so far it has 21,000 views. So it's everything. It's educational, it's funny, it's product specific, not product specific. It really is all over the place.
Mm-hmm.
And kind of that's our attack, is that we're hitting all those buckets, right? We're sometimes doing mindless, funny, stupid stuff that's not even relevant to the brand, but it might be trending on TikTok. Yeah. The only thing we don't do, we don't dance. We don't shake our stuff.
I'd follow you to see that. Come out with a suit and do people be like, why is this guy out with a suit dancing?
So and that's the only thing. I get it. That's what works the best on there, right?
Yeah.
Highly attractive people dancing, but we don't do that. And it's crazy that we figured it out without doing that. I got Brandon Curran, the face of our brand, the face of our TikTok. I got him to dance one time. But it wasn't like a silly dance. It was like a trending dance of a trending audio and video of like bad dance, like not good dancing.
Yeah.
And I was like, okay, we can do this one. He's like, man, all right. Really don't want to dance, but and it didn't perform very well. So we're done dancing.
Yeah, I think that's inspiring for people like us, for like me, my brand. I don't want to dance. I'm sure my wife doesn't want to dance either. But I mean, for us to show how to properly swaddle a baby or whatever, like just different things we can do. Like it just think of your own niche, right? Like like what can you do that'd be like educational? Do you guys also have like a Gary V jab right hook approach where you like once in a while you do all these funny things, funny, informational, all of a sudden, boom, throw in an offer? Is that just not something you do on TikTok?
So we tried it actually for the first time last week. It was the first time we had put an offer on.
Okay.
It didn't perform great.
Yeah. People are there to get entertained, right? Let the ads do that.
They're there to get entertained, but it's what's crazy is that I take it as it's the Gtfo bracelet, and basically it's just a bracelet, and you can take it off, and it has a little glass breaker piece, so you can literally put it on something and get out of a situation.
Oh, cool.
And, it's pretty cool. It's inexpensive to make. It's arguably inexpensive to buy, but like we did that video and we sold thousands of them. We had to order more because we quickly sold out. So the product videos do get us without an offer, just showing a cool product and showing the utility. We see upticks, and we've always seen upticks even when we were still growing. Like 1 out of 10 product videos, it catches the algorithm and starts showing the people are like, oh, I want to buy that. I think that the educational piece and the product piece and mixing them and marrying them works. I don't know if you need to necessarily have that Gary V. Here's a quick offer, 50% off today.
Yeah. No, it's cool. I love that. And it seems genuine, right? Like it's just a cool thing you're doing. And then you're, by the way, if you want to buy it, you can get it right from this or whatever, right? Maybe we'll have to have you come back to do an exclusive video just for the supporters on TikTok. We can kind of do a screen share and look at kind of some of the ads you guys have done, your hits and misses, your winners and losers, those kind of things. I think that'd be interesting because similarly with Josh, we did kind of a post show wrap up just for the supporters.
Yeah.
That was actually, I think it was TikTok specific as well. I think, but I think it's at the right time. We're doing this purposely because it's on par with what's going on in the industry. Obviously, if people like you and Josh are all over this, there's a reason for that. You guys have the resources that companies like mine and maybe some of you guys listening don't have to kind of figure this out, but you guys do, and you have figured it out. So, I mean, that's awesome.
Yeah, TikTok is where it's at, which is weird to say.
Yeah, Chris
But
George has been yelling that from the rooftops for a year and a half now. Like
he has, and
I
so
know.
I've been yelling it. Maybe not yelling it, but like I've been talking about this for since we launched. I remember a year ago when we launched, I was like, guys, we're behind the ball on this. Like, we have to go. We've already missed some opportunity because we haven't figured out. And I remember the whole team was like, what? TikTok? I was like, trust me, like we're gonna this is it. Like we have to execute on this.
Yeah.
And we hit our head against the wall so hard over and over again. And I mean, a year later, and it's finally coming to fruition. It was a year of like, why are we? The team was probably like, why are we doing this?
Yeah.
Like John's lost his mind. Like he likes TikTok personally, and
Yeah.
like, he's making this a business initiative. What
Yeah.
is it?
It's a definition of insanity, John, right?
Yeah, but it was. We
Yeah.
we were going down that route. We were
Yeah.
doing the same stuff day in day, posting the same stuff, and not getting any success, and expecting, and me being like, no, tomorrow it's gonna work.
Yeah. Just wait. This next post.
And I'm glad it finally did. Because now I'm not that crazy person that was like screaming TikTok. Like Chris George.
Right. Yeah. Chris is a prophet now. He's
He is.
Cool.
He did call it.
Oh man, he's yeah. As soon as the first time I met him, he was talking about it. I mean, and I knew it. It's just the same thing. It's like
Yeah, but how do you? Yeah, and you can know it too, but like still, like, why do you like? It's still not easy to lean into it.
No.
Because it's so unknown. And if everybody's wrong, then I mean, your time is your most valuable asset, and it's a very time intensive thing to try to figure out. Like, if you're wrong, like you can't get that time back.
Yeah.
If we were wrong, like the amount of time we would have wasted in the past year on something that didn't pan out would have been embarrassing. Which I would have probably should have fired myself if that was the case, because it was a lot of time and a lot of resource.
Yeah. I'll say this. I mean, if you're out there listening and you're like, man, Facebook ads have been crappy for me and I don't have enough money to keep putting in there, or not enough to grow the scale I want to grow, I'd say, and you do have time as a resource, and maybe if you don't, you might have to make some. Maybe that is something you can start doing without having to just create content and post once a day. I mean, I think once a day, 4 times a week, 3 times a week to start is something very reasonable. I think Josh says he posts 4 times a day. I was like, oh, that's crazy. That's a lot. That's too much for this guy. Yeah, I'm not there yet. But I think it's one of those things where just start. That's an organic way of growing, and even if it takes you a year, it's better to start now than next year.
And I know it's probably been talked about everywhere so often. Everybody's probably sick of hearing it, but the community piece is still so important. You have to build a community, and it's something that has to happen sooner than later, right? Like if you're just starting off and launching now, like the community piece needs to be a part of your initial launch. And if you don't have it, you need to focus on it, because that's so key. And that's what we're getting because of the community. These videos have done well because there's the engagement, right? These people are engaging and commenting and liking and bringing up discussions and discussing with each other on the comments. So figuring out that community piece is big. Yeah. Not easy. It's a whole task in itself.
Mm-hmm. Well, man, we've covered a lot of ground. We've been here, I think, on air for about an hour and a half here. So this is good stuff. I think what we'll do is we'll wrap up the podcast part of the show,
Cool.
and then we're gonna go into the Q&A round for the supporters. Are you down with that?
Yeah, I'm down.
Okay, well, thanks for doing this. And if you're a supporter of the show, yeah, we're gonna head over to the Q&A and ask John some questions you guys have submitted. And if you're not and you'd like to be, just head over to the subscription boxshow.locals.com. Thanks for doing this, John.
Yeah, thanks for having me, Eric. Good to see you again.